Okay, so now we are recording. All right, so this is for English 112, and I'm going to pull up some materials here that I've posted for the research project. So I'm hitting share screen. The screen is now sharing, and let's go over here. So maybe you can see that, and hopefully I'm still sharing with you. Okay, still sharing. So I've got all these things in here. So let's go over that really quickly. The first one is how to choose a topic. It's an audio accompanied PowerPoint file. I won't read that to you. It's very, very short, but it's on how you actually choose a topic for a research project. And then the next PowerPoint, drafting a thesis, walks you through the process of drafting a thesis. And that's typically done by things such as asking questions. Then this one here talks about evaluating sources. Let's see if I can pull that up. And if I'm still sharing, still screen sharing. And please move this one away from the shared application. Your screen sharing is paused. Let's come back over here. So we're stopping the share. So we're back here over with me. So let's try to screen share again. Let's see if I can pull this up, this research component, and we're still sharing. Okay, so this is how to evaluate sources. So if we go down, it's just questions you should ask about source material. Does it provide background information, explain terms and concepts and things like that? Why you should use databases. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But you really shouldn't use Google if you're doing research, particularly academic research. It doesn't do you really a heck of a whole lot of good. I give an example of diabetes. If you click on diabetes, you get 296 million hits. As opposed to a website, a database, if you do the same thing through Academic Premier, you maybe get 79,000 hits, a heck of a whole lot less than 296 million. So it really narrows things down for you very, very quickly, and it gives you reliable sources. You don't have to worry about whether they're good or not. If you don't use sources from the databases in the library, and I include files on how to get there, then it's up to you to determine whether or not the material is good or not. So, for example, there's all kinds of stuff out there. This is one from NAMBLA, and it's a really slick piece of a web page for you. It's got all kinds of information in there, but if you realize that their whole point of view is to try to get in what they call the prejudice against loving relationships between men and small boys, you go, wait a minute. I think that might be a suspect website. So you can't use it. You got to check out the website. You can't just use any old thing you find on the net, because just because it's out there doesn't mean it's good information. Here's another one. A lady was doing research on dragons, and I said, well, I guess you could maybe do, dragons and myth and legend. And she went and got something called draconian.com. Well, this is the place where you can buy tattoos and stuff, and they give you all kinds of information on dragons, but it's all fake. It's not real stuff. Again, just because it's out there doesn't mean it's something you can use. So what are you looking at? You got .coms, .edus, .govs, and .orgs. Orgs are usually okay, but you got to be careful who's putting them out. For example, NAMBLA up above was a .org. .gov is a government publication. Generally, these are acceptable. The U.S. government is the largest publisher in the world, puts out more material than anybody else. So usually a government website's okay. .edu is typically good, but you got to be careful, because sometimes these .edus might actually be just a freshman comp student posting his essay from freshman composition because he's very proud of it, and it has a .edu thing at the end. But .edu is oftentimes professors will publish their research through their university or college's website, and it's a good source of information. .coms you got to be careful about, because those are commercial entities. They're not all bad. Like WebMD is a .com, and so the information in there could be used. But you got to be careful too, because everything on WebMD pretty much ends in cancer. You can die of cancer, so be careful with the .coms. This is from Genesis Park. If you hit the About button, every website should have an About button that says what they're doing. This is how you evaluate the website and who they are, and they tell you very quickly that they're here to dispute the myth that evolution is real, then God didn't create the world in 6 days. So this is a creationist website, and flies in the face of what modern science tells us about dinosaurs. And then they claim that the Earth is no more than 6,000 years old, even though modern science says it's many millions and millions of years old. So if you were to use information from this website, anything else that you include in your paper, look, if you include one suspect piece of information in your paper, it puts into doubt everything that goes into your paper. So you've got to be very careful about that. So you have to vet your sources very carefully if you don't use one of the databases. Um, let's see. If you can't find something that says about us, who we are, who put this information up on the website, you should never ever use it. Okay. You should not use Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a very useful piece of research tool, but because anybody can edit these Wikipedia entries, they're suspect. This is not to say you cannot use Wikipedia. I use Wikipedia from time to time, and I'll show you how. Basically, if you go to the end of any Wikipedia article, there will be a reference section, and these reference sections will contain the sources that went into that article. So if you found that the Wikipedia article was useful to you, if you go to the back reference section and look up those sources and find those, track them down individually, that would be probably an acceptable use of sources. So Wikipedia can be a springboard to finding sources, but it cannot be a source in and of itself. Sites to avoid anything that bills itself as a research service. They're selling essays. You even anywhere near something like that, it's automatically going to be an F, so don't do that. Be careful with personal blogs, because personal blogs, they're pretty cool information, but who's putting out the blog, right? So if the blog is, say, from Kamala Harris, right, and she's running for the vice president of the United States, and she's a lawyer, a former prosecuting attorney from DA, she used to be from California, and she's writing about the criminal justice system, well, then she could probably be considered an authority that you can use. But if it's me writing about the criminal justice system, and I don't really have but just a passing acquaintance with it, you really wouldn't want to use me as a source, because I don't really have any expertise in the area. And of course, any wiki site, you want to go ahead and avoid as much as possible. I'm going to click out of here now. Let's see if I stop sharing again. Okay, so I'm still, screen to stop sharing. Okay, so we're back over here with me. I'm gonna go back to the share screen. Wait, no, I'm not gonna do that. Let's see if I can come over here. Yeah, let's go back to the share screen. See if I can pull up another document. So we're over here. Yeah, that's what I want right there. Are we still sharing? We are still sharing. Okay, so when you're creating your, I may lose you again. I'm going to go back in. Over here, over here. It is going to, yeah, it's going to stop the share for a second. So I have to go and grab it. So hang on for just a second. Come back over here to me, right? You let me do that? Stop share. Okay, and then I'm going to go and share and go ahead and grab that one. So this is a thing on outlines, right? So when you're creating, and you should do this for any essay that you write, but it's especially important for a research paper. So when you're doing outlines, you have two types of outlines. Basically, you have the formal and the informal outline. And typically, when I start writing, I usually use what we call an informal outline. I don't always use a formal outline. And all an informal outline is basically is just a sketch of your ideas. You kind of, it's a brainstorming technique, really, and it's just a tentative structure for how you think you're going to set up your essay. So you set things up according to how you think you might want to pursue it. So let's say you're dealing with I don't know, childhood television watching and obesity, right? And so you jot down these ideas. Well, children watch more TV than ever. Snacks marketed to kids are unhealthy and fattening. Obesity causes sleeping disorders, health problems. Addressing this costs money. Therefore, the ads are actually costing us money. But if it's free speech, do we have the right to regulate it? Well, we do that to alcohol and cigarettes. Why not junk food? And so this would be just a general progression of how you might pursue your argument. It's not very, very formal. Now, a formal outline, on the other hand, I don't think I have an example right here, do I? Do I? Yeah, this is what a formal outline like. It's one of these things here, what? Roman numeral 1, A, B, then one, Arabic 1 and 2, then small a and b. That's kind of what that looks like. And you're probably familiar with this from high school or taking notes and things like that. It's important that when you're creating your outline, your topic has at least 3 tiers. In other words, your essay should have a very clear introduction, body, and conclusion. You should have learned this in 111. So when you are putting your outline together, remember, this is how you want to begin it. This is the body of the essay, and this is how you want to include it. Now, one of the things that can help you is doing note cards and bibliography cards. We'll talk about that very quickly. It's in here. Bibliography card simply gives the call numbers here where it may be in the library for the book, and it includes author, or in this case, the editor, the title of the book, the publisher of the book, who published it, where, and whether it's print or something like that. I don't think we need to do that anymore. So that'd be a bibliography card, and this would go into creating your Works Cited page. And then we have note cards. Note cards are kind of cool. There are 3 types: quotes, paraphrases, and summaries, and use the same format for each one of them, right? So let's say this is a quote card. So at the top, I'd put the author, Sylvie, abbreviated title, children's book, and page 185, so I'll know where I got it from. And a little title saying Roald Dahl, mixed reviews. And the quote would be the creator of what many claim to be the most popular kids' books of all time. Roald Dahl is a legend despite the enormous campaigns that have been mounted against him by the adult world. So if I pull this card out, I want to use it as a quote in my essay. There it is, right? I know what the quote is because I'm assuming I copied it down accurately. I know what it's about right here, and I know where I got it from, exactly what page. Now, a paraphrase is the same thing, only I'm going to go ahead and use my words. Roald Dahl, perhaps the most popular modern author of kids' books, remains a legend despite the many serious attacks leveled on him by his critics. So it's, it's the same information, just put in my own words. I kept legend in quotation marks because there's really no way to get around that. And then the last one is a summary note card. We just summarize stuff. Roald Dahl's got many supporters and critics. See, so the top and this here all kind of stays the same. And what's good about a note card is that you can actually create your essay, outline it through the notes that you take down, if you wanted to do that. If you have cards that more than one note card, you can arrange them sequentially like this. That's also criticism note cards, so put the criticism right there if you wanted to. But they allow you a great deal of flexibility. I'm not going to require that you use note cards. They made me do it when I went to school. I didn't find them too particularly helpful, but some people really, really do. What I do want you to put out when you put a research paper together is your outline. That's going to be very important. I'm going to want to see it because when you give me your outline, it gives me a very quick snapshot of what the logic of your essay is and how you're going to use your sources. And I can very, very quickly look at that and say, okay, this looks good. You're on the right path. Or, I don't know, things look kind of out of place here. Let's see if we can't tweak this and make it better. So that's one of the reasons why outlines are very important. And when I begin doing my own essays, I do an outline. You should do it too. And you can always tell when a student doesn't use an outline because in the essay it goes everywhere. Typically speaking, the more work you do up front on an essay, the smoother the whole process goes afterwards. So you got to put in that upfront work and your essays will be a heck of a whole lot better. So let's go back over here to me. Click on this. Is that me? No, stop share. Okay, so stopping the share. Now, let's do some more sharing. And we're going to go into, this screen over here. Come on. Okay, so plagiarism and paraphrasing. You need to pay attention to this section because this is where students really, really, really mess up. And it's going to probably kick me out again, so hang on for a second. Yep, it's doing that. So I'm stopping the share and I'm coming back in, sharing the screen again. And this is, where's my plagiarism and paraphrasing? Where'd you go? That it? Okay. So where students run into trouble is confusion over what is a quote, what is paraphrasing, and what is plagiarism, right? So plagiarism is probably the worst thing that you can do. It's a form of academic cheating. Most people don't plagiarize on purpose, I find. Very rarely do people intentionally plagiarize, and when they do, no mercy. I don't care how much you say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. If you deliberately cheat, then I'm going to throw the book at you. But that's rare. It doesn't happen very often. Typically what happens is students are unclear on where the boundary is, right? So plagiarism, is there's all kinds of definitions, and we have it in the syllabus as well too. But basically, whenever you take anybody else's idea, right, or their exact words, right, and then present it as your own without citing the source, that is plagiarism. So the rule of thumb is, if you use the exact words from somebody, you have to put it in quotation marks and then tell me where you got it, right? If, on the other hand, you don't use the exact words, but you use your own words instead, right? You still have to tell me where you got it, right? And if you, even if it's just an idea that you get from somebody else, you still have to tell me where you got it. So anything you didn't get out of your own head, you have to tell me where you got it. And if you use the exact words of that source, then you put it in quotation marks and tell me where you got it. The key here is always being honest and trying to say where you got the information. When people run into trouble with plagiarism, sometimes it's because they just forgot where they got the information. They don't take accurate notes. And believe it or not, when you do a lot of work on a topic, after a while, ideas that seem strange or foreign to you are going to seem second nature because you've run into them so often that they don't sound unusual or strange to you anymore. It's part of your common cognitive processes now. So it doesn't stand out that this idea is something that I didn't come up with. So that's why you have to be a little meticulous. You have to channel your inner OCD when you are writing research papers, particularly when you're using sources. Plagiarism penalties, well, we have a number of things. You can read that. I'm not going to go over that, but because you're not going to do it, right? So quoting, whenever you use a quote, you use quotation marks, right? So this is a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King from an essay he wrote, 3 Ways of Meeting Oppression. And I'm not going to read it to you. It's a long quote, right? But this is the exact quote. So I'm going to use that in an essay. I have to put a quotation mark at the beginning, a quotation mark at the end, and then I have to say, open parentheses, King, 412, close King, period. So I got this off of page 412 from some passage, some work I got by King. This is what we call parenthetical documentation, because all the information we need is right here in the parentheses. So parenthetical documentation is just a big sounding term for it. We put it in the parentheses. So open with a quote, end with a quote. Open parentheses, close parentheses, period. The period comes at the end because this information is considered a part of the sentence, right? Now, let's say I did something like this. I went in and I swapped out a bunch of words. And typically I ask students, so is this a paraphrase if I do this? Because what's the definition of a paraphrase? Was using my own words, right? And it's a trick question because it's not a paraphrase. This is still plagiarism because if you notice, all I did was swap out some words. So if I just swap out a word or phrase or turn the sentence around, but I'm still essentially keeping the same sentence, it's not a paraphrase because a paraphrase means I'm using my own words. I'm using my own speech patterns when I do that. So let's do a sentence by sentence deconstruction of this. So the original is violence as a way of achieving racial justice becomes violence is both impractical and immoral. So violence is a way of achieving racial justice is both impractical and immoral. So I take impractical and immoral, put them right here. I just move them around. It is impractical becomes it is not practical because it's a descending spiral that ending in destruction or that ends in destruction for everyone. The old law of an eye for an eye or tooth for a tooth hurts everyone. And you can go through the entire passage where I showed you all I did. This is what we call kind of patchwork plagiarism. And students will do this a lot because they don't understand that this is not really paraphrasing. It is, in fact, a form of plagiarism. So how do we prevent that? It's real simple. You find your information in your textbook or whatever you're looking at, right? You look at it and you read it and you put it down and you don't look at it. And then you write in your own words what you think that passage said. And then when you're done, you compare it back to the original and see if you got it right. If you didn't, put it back down, try it again. So what would a good paraphrase look like? Might look something like this. King argues against violence because it's bad for both the person doing the violence and the person receiving it. He argues it's impractical on the grounds that it destroys the individual and society. In the same manner, he argues it's immoral on the grounds that violence has its roots in hate, which is ultimately destructive. So this would be a good paraphrase. Is nothing near the original, right? And notice it's actually shorter, right? So I'm giving the gist of the paragraph while being substantially different from the actual original. And notice I still have to say King 412. I don't put it in quotation marks because it's not a quote anymore, but I still, have to say where I got it. Okay, I'm going to stop share here for a second, come back over here to this screen. Now, let's see what else I want to do. So we come here. What's on this? No, still okay. Let's see, make this a little bit smaller. I can't minimize it. I can't minimize it. Okay. So let's come back over here to, well, let's share screen, see what I can do. What's up here? Okay, so am I here? Am I here? Am I here? Let's come over here. Okay, share that. Okay, so these are the things on plagiarism and stuff. I got some works cited exercises for you and integration. Now, down over here, I've got a link to the Purdue Online Writing Lab, right? So you always want to, in fact, let's see if I can go there to Purdue, see if it pops up for you. And they are the gold standard in online writing labs. So it pulls up in a window here for you, you can still see it. So anything you want to know about how to cite sources and things like that, it's all here on the Purdue website. So there's an AP8 and MLA guide. So hit the MLA guide right here. It'll give you information on how to actually do anything you need in MLA. Let's see, where am I at here? Sample papers. It's just the entire, yeah, so here's the guide right there for MLA. The window's kind of small here, so I apologize for that. So this is how to cite your paper. How to format quotations, how to do endnotes and footnotes, basic formats, how to do periodicals, meaning magazines, how to do books, how to do electronic sources right here. Now, there's no need for you to click on electronic sources right here. I'm going to click out of here. I'm going to stop the share. And then I'm going to come back to, let's see, where's this at? Unifor outline, close, Unifor outline, close. And let's see if I can share the screen again to get down to something I had up here for you earlier. Where you at? No, that's not it. That's not it at all. Let's see. Screen sharing is stopped as the shared window is closed. Okay, so I'm going back to share screen again. Let's see. This is Purdue Online. So let's share that. And let's go back to where we were. And let's go back one more time. One more time. I'm having a little trouble getting to where I need to go. Okay, back to the home page. That's where I wanted to be. So you notice that what I've done for most of the information that you're going to use in your paper is going to be online. So I've got here in the same area something on how to cite an online source. And I'm using OWL as the information. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to go back in and grab that thing again. So it's got to be a smoother way to do this, but I'm not that kind of a genius. So if you look here, it shows how to do a page on a website. So we give the author, last name, first name, title of the article, then title of the website itself. This is from eHow, and then the www.ehow.com, right? / how, the entire URL address, and the date I accessed it. This is very important, right? It's not because things can change on the net. It's very important you give the date. Again, if there is no author, I begin with the title of the article. Athlete's Foot Topic Overview. This is from WebMD. This is the date it was put up. And this is the entire URL. So those are the things that I need. And these are also how to do web pages as well. So if you're going to be using online sources and you're not using the databases, this is the sort of stuff that you're going to want to use. Stop the share, come back over here. Let's see, share again, see if I can find what I need. Okay, this is the page I want. Now, how to access RCC databases, that's here. How to get a library card, that's here. We got unit 7 and 8 research components, but what the exercises I'm going to have you do is to create a works cited entry for 3 things. One is going to come from a website, Big Future College Board. So if you click on this link, it should bring you to it, and you use the examples I just gave you of how to do an online website. That little file down here that I showed you right here, citing online sources. Okay, that's where you go for that one. Then there's another one, Gunfighter Nation. That's right here. And that is, let's see, where is that at? That would equate to probably research component 7. Let me see if that's what it is. Open and stopping the share. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go back to stop share and do the share again and go back to that research component thing I just opened up. Where are you at? There we go. So this PowerPoint, Research Component 7, shows you how to do a book. And that's what the Gunfighter Nation is. So basically, if you work through this little file, it shows you everything you're looking for in book. And if you go to Amazon.com, you can actually bring up these pages. It shows you the copyright page and the title page. And from that, that's everything that you need to create a book entry. So that's what I'm asking you to do there. So that's under let me go ahead and stop share here for a second. Come back over here. And that's actually under the under unit 7 research component. Now, in order to complete this thing over here and do your works cited entries, the last thing you need to do are the databases, right? So I want you to go to ProQuest Search. I want you to find this article in it that says AIDS in Africa, and find this thing, African Perspective on AIDS, right? So see if I can just click on that from here, if that'll bring me there. What is it doing? It looks like it's an actual hyperlink. And oh by golly, it's loading. And okay, so I need to go AIDS in Africa. Like, this is not working well. So I click on that. And what's it called? Perspective is what I was looking for. They must have missed, let's see where this at. What exactly am I looking for? Well, I don't remember exactly what I was looking for. Let's go back over here. I'm going to stop the share for just a second, and I'm going to go back in and look at that real quick. Let's see. There it is, ProQuest. No, that's not it. PowerPoint. No, that's not it. Where am I at? 2020. Wow, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Enable editing. Let's just get out of that real quick. I think I've actually gotten out of the. I think I got all the way out of the actual website. Hang on for just a second. Let's do this Moodle and get back in. I don't know how I blew that, but I apologize. So we're going to go to courses again, and we're going to go to 112, and we're going to go down to that thing I was looking at. So I can go back into the library site. What I was looking at was around here. One more. There we go. September 7th through 11th. Is that it? No, I hate it when it does that. You click on it, it won't send you there. Okay, so down here, there we go. So the article I'm actually looking for is AIDS in Africa. It's called African Perspective on AIDS, a Crisis Different from West. Okay, so let's click on that again. Okay. Come back over here. Zoom meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again. And I'm going to try to get to Sears. Sears, is this it? Sears Retro Inbox. We'll go with here. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to say African Perspective on AIDS. African Perspective on AIDS. and see what shows up. No. Okay, so African AIDS, is that going to show up anything? So I'm now looking for African perspective on AIDS. Where would that be at? Um, they may have moved it down someplace else, harder for me to find. The reason why I gave it because it was such a simple thing to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to click on the very first one. Studies offer fresh hope. That's all I want anyway, right? Um, Now you notice here when you go into the database, it shows you right here how to cite in the article. So let's say we're doing MLA. It actually gives you the works cited citation right here. And all you got to do is copy that puppy down and then send it to yourself. And you got yourself a works cited entry right there. It's very easy to do. So when I'm asking you to go in and find to create a works cited entry for an article, I don't care which one it is, I guess now, because obviously I can't find the article I want you to do. Any article from the database will do for this assignment. And it's easy. All you got to do is find one, click on cite, cut and paste that thing into a document, and you're golden, right? Just make sure it's MLA and not something like APA or Turabian. MLA is what we're doing in this class. If you were in a psychology class, it would be APA. And that's how you get the answer to that thing down the second one. So going back to, I'm going to stop the share, come back to me, go back over here to share and pull back up where we are here. Am I anywhere in there at all? Oh, I don't think I am. So hang on for a second. Let me call this up over here. I don't know where this stuff is going. I keep clicking out of it as like it's my job now. Hit Moodle. Wow, it's going to make me go all the way in from the beginning. That's beautiful. Okay. So courses 112 and we're at right here. Okay. So it's kind of a long video. I apologize for that. So here we are at 112 this week right here. 14th or 18th, the research paper. Will it bring me there? Because sometimes, no, of course it's not going to do that. Why would it do that? It's the most amazing thing in the world. It just decides I'm going to go this place on the website. So, okay, I'm going to come back over here to me and Zoom meeting and hit share the screen so you can see what I got right here. So I'm bringing us back to, again, this week, 7 through 11, the research paper, right? So you work your way through these PowerPoints, which we already did actually, so maybe you don't need to do. And then you have your works cited exercise, right? So in order to do the first one, the URL, you drop down to this file down here that shows citing online sources, right? That's the one you're going to use there. Then if you want to do the next one, which is an online database, really all you have to do is follow this link down here. It's not going to bring you to African perspectives on AIDS, right? But it's going to bring you to a database. Just click on any article, copy the citation in MLA 8th edition, and cut and paste it into your document. And then the last one is Gunfighter Nation. You're going to come back down here to this component, Unit 7, that shows you how to do a book. And this is like getting a physical book out of a library. Only you can do it through Amazon. Amazon allows you to see the actual pages. So don't treat it like an electronic source, even though it is. Treat it like it's an actual physical book. And then when you're done with that, I've got some integration of sources exercises. So using the 3 sources from the works cited exercise above, show me how you would integrate a quote and then a paraphrase from each source, just like we did for Martin Luther King. So when we come over here and we hit plagiarism and paraphrasing, right? You go ahead and I showed you how to do a quote according to Dr. King, blank, and there it is, and I cite it. Or then I said a paraphrase, and then I cite King. You would do the same thing. You would give me a little quote from each of these sources, so you can have a total of 6 entries. So for the first one here from the big college board, you'd have a quote, and then you'd have a paraphrase. Then for the next one, you would have from the database on AIDS, you'd have a quote from the article, then a paraphrase. And then finally here at the bottom, you would have from the book Confederation, a quote, and then a paraphrase. And this is the one where you're going to have to actually use a page number. There were page numbers in the book. I don't care what quote or paraphrase that you use. And that's what it'll go right here. So you got two things coming up that need to be submitted, and this is what they are. So there's a lot of information here, but it's not really, terribly complicated. I just want you to know how to create a citation, right? And then how to take the information, either quote or to paraphrase, in a document. And so that's what you'll be submitting in both of these things. If you have any questions, please text me at 785-323-7168 or email me. I'll be more than happy to help with this. I know we went through this kind of fast, but I just want to make sure that you get a look at this stuff, take your time, do it right. And then after this one, we're going to start moving into the next week, CSA over here. And this is, we're going to talk about the sources that you're going to be using, and they're not in this section right here. But basically, you're going to, like, is it over here? There is a problem. There is no problem. Section 1. Is that that? Nope. I got to go find the sources for you. Where are they at? Is it over here? Where did I put them at? Well, now I'm probably just confusing the heck out of you. I'm going to stop sharing and come back over here to the screen. But basically, once you've shown me that you know how to do a works cited entry and how to quote or paraphrase from a source, then we're going to move on to actually starting the research paper. So that first article you did on date rape, some of you did a different article. That's fine. Hang on to them. I'm going to give you a list of there is a problem, there's not a problem articles, right? And so there's like 3 in this one and 4 in the other. You have to pick 2 from each one. One of them is already date rape, so you're halfway there. Those who did tyranny Sneed, you're halfway there, right? So you got 2 articles already, so you got to pick 2 more, 2 from each side, a total, right? And you're going to write summaries for that, and you're going to post them, and then you're going to use those summaries in the research paper that we're putting together. So that's what we're going to be doing next, and I'm going to hold, hopefully, I'm gonna hold a collaborate session, and you guys are gonna be there so I can walk you through it or explain to you what we're trying to do. As it is, I'm gonna go ahead and post this up, notify you guys I put a video about how to do the materials here, and hopefully things will go smoothly. If not, you need to contact me. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end this right now. I'm gonna, where are we at? I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Take care.